Come once again. So today we're going to go through the software testing course, and it's basically going to be manual testing. And we've started the introduction last week. Last year it's been. So we're going to go through the second lecture right now. And so yeah, this is me actually, DJ Ogunlaja. So what we're going to discuss this evening is going to be mainly manual testing, how it's done, and also I will also be showing you some of the tools that are used for manual testing, but more often it's going to be theoretical. So we also, if time permits, we're going to look into the practical part actually. So yeah, let's go. What is manual testing actually? Basically, it's easy. It's a process where a software is manually tested. So a tester has his own role, will serve like an end user and try to go through the journey of that application in order to ensure that the behavior is correct, or to ensure that it performs its function successfully. So, but as a structured tester, you would have a test case that you go through, and you follow those test cases, and that means you will have written your test plan before you start running the test. So, and this is process that we're going to follow even during this particular class. So in essence, a manual tester ensures the application meets the requirements. But to do it officially, you will need a test plan. And also, that set plan will set out different test cases that you would need to cover, so in order to guarantee the completeness of your testing. So what is test plan? What is test cases? I mentioned this last time we spoke. So if you go back to the last video, you'll be able to see what that is. But in this slides also, I will talk about test plans and also give sample of the test plans, and also I'll talk about test cases, how it's been done. So yeah, like I said in the previous slide, so in some cases in most cases you have a test plan, which is a structured way to do your testing. So but in other cases you may not have a written plan. So if you don't have a written plan to follow, what you are actually going to be doing is called exploratory testing. So it's used in different instances, basically, more often for an experienced tester. If you just want to have a quick view of that application, or you want to do a quick run through of the application to see how it works, or quick smoke testing, or the application has not got any requirements that you can actually follow. So this is one way to actually go through. And also this particular testing is also useful for newbies. If you join a company today, you might first do exploratory testing because you don't know what the application is doing. For you to have a knowledge of the application, they might ask you to do exploratory testing in order to familiarize yourself with the application. So in that regard, you don't need requirements. You don't even have a written test cases or test plan written. So you just go through the application intuitively as a normal user would do. So, and in the process, maybe you will be able to understand how the application is working, and also peradventure you also find some bugs, and you can raise them. So yeah, we're going to today. It's going to be majorly software lifecycle, software development lifecycle, and also testing lifecycle. So, what exactly is a software development lifecycle? Yeah, it's just a sequence of activities that's carried in order to develop a software. So, but bear in mind, it said software development lifecycle. That does not mean that these tasks are done by developer alone. So they are not only done by developers. So it also includes the testers, the VA, if it's waterfall, project manager, or in case of an agile, if it's a scrum master. So it's basically the process that you follow or sequence of activities that you are carrying has to be carried out in order to develop that particular software that you're talking about. So what are these sequence? I just laid it out in a simple way so that it's easy for people, our newbies, to understand what this process is. Let's say you are developing an application or a website. So what are the first things that you do? One, you talk to the clients or to the user to gather requirements, or you itemize what the site should do. So that particular stage is called requirement stage. Is a stage where you gather what the system should do or what the application will do. So that is the first stage of the application. And in literary ways, or if you are working, this particular stage will be done by a business analyst actually. So you will gather requirements and you document them in different ways. We're going to go through how requirements are documented in different instances actually. So then from there, what do you do? So you now describe the technical details of the application, like programming, database, flows, what exactly is required for that. So that takes us to another stage, which is design stage. So design stage is when you discover or describe or actually write all the details, technical details in this instance about the application, how the flow should work, what different database we should involve in, and also what calls are you going to make, interaction with different applications or something like that. So you need to put that into perspective. Then after that, you move into another stage where the coding begins. Actually, that's where you start to write the code as a developer. So the first stage that the first stage I said, the first stage requirements is done by a BA. The second stage sometimes would be done by developer or an architect. Actually, maybe you call the person a solution architect or technical architect. So then it goes back into the coding part, which is the third part that we are talking about, which is the build state, where developer now write the code for what the BA or the solution architect has designed. So then the code is written. Then after, there's another stage also where you have the testing stage, which most of people in this particular course will fall into. So that's where you will test the application to ensure that it meets the requirement that has been written, and also to ensure the quality of the application. So if the application also goes live, hopefully it does, so then there will be updates, there will be upgrades and everything that will be required maybe at different times. So that particular stage is what we now enter into right now, which is the maintenance stage. So at this maintenance stage, you have different upgrades that you send across. That's why in most cases you see some applications that you downloaded maybe on your app. They said there's no update right now, so you have to update that particular app that you downloaded. So it's kind of in that maintenance stage. So this is kind of different stages. I did not pull this. I just basically pull this out because they follow different ways in different methodology. So I'm not talking about those methodology right now. So I think I've mentioned this last week about different methodology that we have, whether it's agile, waterfall. But let's go on. So different modules in software lifecycle that we have V module, fish module, waterfall module, and also we have agile. I have last time I've discussed briefly about V module and waterfall module actually. So an agile module or framework, you have SP, Scrum, and all those ones listed here actually. So but I'm not going to be discussing about agile right now. There's another course that we do offer, which is for project management and agile, so which is going to happen in the later days. So if you are interested in knowing about agile, I would say you should enroll for that particular course actually. Or watch the video when we put it on. So yeah. So now let's talk about the software testing lifecycle. So software testing lifecycle is basically different activities that are carried out by tester. So in order for them to ensure the quality of the application. So, and this is normally carried out in a planned and systematic ways actually. So you have to have goals and deliverables. You have to write it down. You have to follow the plan. So it's a process basically. It's not like normal way that an ad hoc tester would do is testing. Just take an application, then you start to test it. But no, testing is a process. You have to go through different process. At every stage of the process, you need to carry out some activities. So I'm going to go through these activities with you right now. However, I need to point out that these phases or stages of this software lifecycle differs across different organizations. Some of them you may not need to follow all the processes that I'm going to talk about. I would try to, as much as possible, to mention where they would differ based on different organizations, so that I have worked with actually. So, and you'll be able to see different flavor of this. So, and like I said, yeah, there will be different flavor of this particular life cycle that you will see. And yeah, so, and also may I also point out that when we talk about this software testing life cycle, and the term testing, as I've said before, the term development doesn't apply only to developers, also it applies to all stakeholders. The same way, in this concept of TDD and everything, testing is not only just done by the testers in code, so it's also done by developers. Also, there are different type of testing that they also need to do, and also even with the BAs also. So testing is kind of a team activities, like a development team activity that everyone should be able to buy in and also contribute their own quota to it. So when we are talking about testing, we are not only talking about activity that a tester does, but we are talking about testing as applied to a development team actually. So let's talk about these particular phases that are involved in software lifecycle. So the first one that I've mentioned before right now is requirement phase, basically. So of course, like in the same way in development lifecycle, you also have the requirement phases in software lifecycle. This the last video I did, I also mentioned one of the 7 principles of software testing, and one of those principles actually says that testing should start as early as possible. So, and this is one of the reasons why we will have a requirement phase actually. So at the requirement phase, what exactly are we going to do? So I'm going to go through that in detail. So after the requirement phase, you have the planning phase, you have the analysis phase, you have the design phase, you have the implementation phase, and also execution phase and conclusion stage, and also where you have closure to your testing. So like I said, your company may not follow this. I've seen some companies, what they follow is like you have the planning stage, which is basically requirement and planning all together, and some of them also even put analysis together with it. So you have everything together: requirement phase, planning stage, analysis stage, all together. But in some other cases, not as flavor, you have planning and analysis. So then also going on, you have design. So, and implementation, design and implementation rather, so they also combine together to make a design phase. So, and then after that you have the execution phase. Then conclusion and closure also could be combined into one phase. So it depends on what your company are going through. So it's okay to have them split out like this, which I think it's really, really cool, to be honest. So yeah. So in requirement phase, we have to analyze and study the requirements. So you analyze and you study the requirements. So, and like I said, requirements are written by the BAs. I'm actually pointing this out for newbies so they don't know, so they know who actually does which part of the development life cycle. So requirement is done by the BA. So you just need to study, analyze it. Like basically that's one of level of testing which is called static testing. You are not executing anything, you are only reviewing that particular document. So requirement is a document. Is a document that explains what the application should do. Then also you come together and you have like a braining section or whatever you call it. Some people they will call it like three amigos, where the BA will come, also the developer will come, the tester will come. You would actually review that requirement, and this requirement, whether depending on which type of methodology you choose to use, whether waterfall or agile. So it's basically, if it's waterfall, you will have a bulky document to review. So, but if it's agile, you would have the document, the requirement will be in chunks, because that's the concept of agile. You have it in chunks and you have it like in a small bit. Actually, I'm going to show you one different requirement to you in the course of this particular slide. So, and yeah, you try to find if the requirements are testable or not, which part is not testable. If they're not testable, you report it, and if they're testable, you report it. And then also you try to identify different type of testings that could be performed, and also what are the priorities that you should focus on actually. Then you would prepare a requirement matrix. Based on the requirement, right, you will now link, you have like test conditions that you want to, which is like the features that you want to test in the requirements. So you will itemize them. It's basically like going to be like a one line actually, that I want to do the login, I want to do registration, I want to, so each of the requirements you will now map them together into, okay, so for you to be able to ensure that you cover all the requirements. So identify the test environment that you need to use, and also you also need to see if there's automation required. But this particular training is not about automation. There's also another part of the training that we're going to talk about automation. So I will go through a bit of samples of requirements. So the one at the left, the one at the left hand side is basically like a waterfall requirement. It's not that legible. What you need to do, this kind of a sample, you have this document like this. It might be 20 pages, 50 pages, or 1,000 pages. What you just need to do is just need to read those documents, and from the document you highlight the testing that you could do on those documents. Basically, if it's talking about registration, you will say, okay, I need to do registration. If it's talking about the condition about who can do this, who should not do this, or you need to write them out. I'm going to show you a sample of a matrix, actually, how you can actually map them together. So, and you would read them. Basically, it's just for you to read those requirements, and at the end goal is for you to certify that the application meets the requirements, basically. So that document is like your Bible, basically. It's like something that you would look into, and you would be able to come out and say, oh, I've been able to cover all the steps or all the features in that particular document. So that's the purpose of the testing. So the left hand side is the waterfall, and you have another one also which is written in a Gherkin and also in which is descriptions also. You have that one. So we're going to, if you are fortunate to be in the internship, we would be using the right hand side, which is the as a user of Giphy when I do this, or then also you have scenario 1, invalid and valid registration. So if time permits, we'll look into this later. So, and the last time I also mentioned about different test techniques that you could use. I said about equivalent partitioning and boundary value analysis. So this is the place that you would, when you are doing your testing, you would use those parts. But it's not at this particular point anyway, but in the process of your testing, you would bring those text design techniques in. But I would point it out to you when I get to that point. A sample of a requirement, like from here, this is the manual way of writing it. So, but however, you can now put them in Azure DevOps, which is one of requirements management tool actually. So, and also is also for testing, also basically Agile management tool in great detail. And I would say, so you have the requirement. And you can see the feature, you can see product backlog items. So basically, you in the left hand side that you have the product backlog item. When you have the description, you put your description of that particular requirement in there, and you put the acceptance criteria in there. So if we are not able to do it now, next week we'll go into this particular tool, and we'll be able to walk through how you can actually write a requirement and how to test from Azure DevOps. So yeah, manually also, you could have requirement testability matrix. So this is basically without a tool actually. So if you are not using any tool and you're using Excel, so you can actually trace your test cases to the requirement that's been mapped. So what you would do, you have actually given like 3 samples, but the favorite one is the bigger screenshot that you can see. So you have your test case 1, and you highlight which of the requirements that particular test case covered. So the test requirement representative matrix allows you to be able to say, yeah, I've been able to test all the requirements, or there's some requirement that are still missing. For instance, as you can see, the requirement number 6 is not covered at all. So, and that means there's no test cases that's covering that particular requirement. And as you can see also in this particular matrix, that except from this requirement 6, other ones are covered, and some of them are covered even more than one test case actually cover them. So, but that means also you don't need like 13 test cases to cover this requirement. If you leave the requirement 6 out, you don't need, so even 6 test cases is enough to cover requirement 1 to 5 and 6 to 13. So basically, but using tools, I'm going to show it to you right now. So it's easier in tools basically. When you're using, for instance, Azure DevOps, you put your requirement next to you link your test basically to that particular requirement that's been written. So you don't need to do that particular spreadsheet. It does that automatically for you. When you have the requirement and you assign your test, or you link your test to that requirement, you can link one test to as many requirements as possible. And when you actually go into that particular requirement, you'll be able to see different tests that has been linked with that particular requirement. As you can see, for instance, on this particular bug right now, so it's got different tests basically that has been linked to it. And yeah, so that's how they are linked. So we're going to go through this later in practical time, or if not today, by the next time that we meet. So the next step we're going to talk about is now the planning stage. So the planning stage, what do you do at the planning stage? You identify the activities and resources that are needed in order to meet your needs actually. So you try to identify the metrics, and you gather our method of gathering those metrics that you need to use to be able to perform your operations. So basically, what you need to do, right? You need to prepare a test plan and also test strategy document. So I think maybe 5 or 6 years or 7 years ago, if you're talking about test strategy document, you'll be talking about 20 page or 40 page documents. But nowadays, you don't have that again, to be honest. So you have, because yeah, people reading span has even been reduced. So normally maybe 2 or 3 page, or even a PowerPoint presentation, something punchy, to be honest. That's what I would recommend, so that people will actually read it. Otherwise, you have a big document that nobody actually reads, to be honest. So you have something that's so succinct, and yeah, people can read and digest, that you have a document of 50 or 100 pages. So even if you have 100 pages, you need to actually summarize this into like 5 or 6 page documents, so that you can be able to, people can read them actually. So during the test planning activities, also you would select the tools that you're going to use, and you write them down, the effort that are required, and also the responsibility of everyone that are going to be involved. And also, if there's any training that is needed, you would also itemize that. So what you are meant to deliver will be your test plan or your test strategy, and also look out for this particular word. I would say maybe you should Google them out. What is a test plan? What's a test strategy? I'm going to look into that right now. This is a sample test plan according to IEE H29. This is what you need to put in a test plan. Basically, a test plan is a document. So in that document, you have a test plan identifier. You have introduction to this particular test plan. Then items, the test item will be listed. The feature that you'll be tested, you will list them. And also you have the feature that you think will not be listed. Basically, what are the approach that you want to use in testing? So, and also you have your pass or fail criteria. If I say a test fails, what am I talking about? If I say it passes, what is the criteria I am using? Also, then also you have your suspension criteria and resumption requirements. Basically, in this page, people will put entry criteria and also exit criteria. So if I want to start testing, what are the things that I need? And if I say I've finished testing, what exactly am I saying? What are the criteria that I need to use, or yardstick that I will use to be able to establish that I have finished my testing, or I want to start my testing? So you put your entry and exit criteria. Entry criteria is the criteria that you use to say I want to start testing, and the exit criteria is those criteria that you will say you will itemize for you to be able to say, oh, I have finished testing. So this is one of those questions at the interview, when they ask you, when do you think, or how would you establish that you finish your testing? Basically, the simple answer is when your exit criteria has been met. So what you have in your exit criteria need to be met. So basically, maybe you've covered all these requirements based on your requirement matrix, or based on what is being stored on your tools that you are using. And also, you've been able to document everything. The bugs are documented, and perhaps maybe also you've also retested the one that has been fixed. So an entry criteria could also mean that you have your environment ready, resources is available, and everything that's required is there. So you put those ones in the resumption and suspension criteria. So also test deliverables, what are the things that would be delivered, and also what are the tasks that are needed in this particular project. So environment that you need, if it's a manual testing environment or automation testing environment, different responsibilities, who are going to be responsible, testers, scrum masters, or automation tester, and also if there's any training that needed to be done. For instance, if you don't have automation experience, they might ask you to go excuse me, to go and do automation training, or if there's in-house training, you would apply for that. So yeah, and also the schedule, or what is the time range, when do we deliver this particular testing, and what are the risks and contingencies that require, then approvals also, who should give the approvals for all these particular for different bits of this document. So that is that. So I've also added a sample so that you can actually look into. So if you need to have a sample document to say, okay, that actually explain, not even explain, a real test plan. So you can actually go into that particular link. Then, so test planning in Azure is simple, to be honest. I'll say even if you have it too, things are easily done these days, unlike when you have to do them in using Word, or even in a spreadsheet or something like that. So if okay. So in test plan, I would look into this one when we go into the practical session. So, but in Azure DevOps, you just need to create your test plan from there, and you then add the requirements. Basically, you can create a static test plan, and also you can create a test plan using requirement based. So you query that requirement and you put there, you link them with the test cases, or you can also query, do a query. So, and then anytime the result of that query changes, your requirements is updated based on that. So, but yeah, so that is you using a tool to do your test plan, basically. But sometimes it's also good to know how to do it manually without using any tool, because you might find yourself in that situation, whereas you don't, your organization do not have tools to use. So you would need to create the manual test plan. And also, it's also good exercise for you to know what actually goes into a manual test plan, basically what you need to put in there. So it's also good exercise to know this thing. Even also, if you're going for an interview, or you're starting a job, or there's no tools, you want to create one manually. So it's also good for you to know what you should put in there. Then the next phase is the design phase. So this is very, very important, actually. So, and this is the place that you detail your test conditions. So like I said, test conditions is a feature that you want to test. And then you start to gather your test data, and you set up your environment. So you break them down, actually. So into you break all your test conditions down into different sub conditions. So that you can be able to show the coverage of those particular test conditions. So you itemize them and you break them down. So at this particular stage, like I said, in some cases, people will actually combine design stage with implementation stage, which is, I think, it's in some places I've worked, that's what it was used many years ago. So implementation stage is when this is the major task. If you combine that also with the design, is the major task of this software testing lifecycle. So where you create your test cases, this is where you are going to be using the test design techniques that I taught last time, basically like equivalent partitioning or boundary value analysis. So where you take your test cases and you're able to come out with test data, you're able to design your test data by yourself. And so it's very, very important to this particular phase is very, very, very important. So, and in some other places also, you might need to sign off the test cases before you start execution. So, and this bit is I can't overemphasize how important this bit is, basically, because the bulk actually stop at this particular place, because this is when you would review your test cases, create them, identify if there's any gap, and also, yeah, so your deliverables here is your test cases, your test script, your test data. What data are you going to use? What are the scripts that you want to run? And also the test cases involved. So sample test cases, if you're going to be using the manual approach without any tool, you can use any of this particular sample like that. So where you have, I'll go through one of them actually. So in the one on the left hand side, you have the test scenario, actually test scenario ID, which, and also you have the test cases description, a brief description about the test case, and then going at the bottom you have your test step, basically saying step 1, what are the actions, what are the inputs, your test data that you need, what are your expected outputs. Then after that, your actual output is not going to be written at this particular instance, basically. So that would come when you have start doing your execution, actually. So, but at this point, what you're going to fill in is the top part, actually, which is all the titles and everything. So then, of course, this the step number, the actions, the input, the expected output, and that's all. So yeah, of course, you might also want to put the test browser, but if you are using different browser. So that's what you are going to fill in. So on the other one that we have, the test case templates, this is more elaborate actually. So you now have the process or the stage, depending on what that particular column is called in your own case. It might be different for different application. So, and then your test case, what decide also the feature that you are going to be testing. So basically, I'm testing delivery, I'm testing login, I'm testing registration. Then after that, you have the step. What are the steps that you want to take to be able to test that particular feature, basically? So, and those are the things that you're going to fill at the okay, and with the expected results, basically. So status will not be filled right now, because status are going to be filled when you execute that particular step. So, and you would at this point at the planning stage, or design stage rather, you would put you enter the test cases, the step descriptions, and expected results. Then after that, when we have at the execution stage, you would run the step and you put the status and the actual result. So yeah, it gets better in Azure DevOps. This is what you have, the state of that particular test case, the area, the iteration, and the reason. So more often, the most important is the title at the top, which is the change color for internal view. That's the title. Then you have the steps. So the step, what you have is your action, expected results, and if there's any attachment while you're doing the execution, you put attachments also, or if there's any, even during the design, you can put attachments which you think should be used to actually buttress that particular step. So what you just need to do is to click or type here to add step. As long as when you click on it, it expands, then you'll be able to enter the step in there. Then you enter the actions, you enter the expected behavior. So after that, you can run it. So we're going to go through this later when I show you this application. So okay, so there's other tools that you can use. This is one of them, Quality Center. I know they've changed name right now. So yeah, you can also use it to gather your requirements, design your test cases also. So let's go to the execution phase. At the execution phase, at this point, what you just need to do is to take your test cases that you've designed and then step by step execute them. So this is what you will do in this particular case right now. Let's say you have this particular test case on the right. So create a delivery. You go to the application, you create a delivery, and then you confirm if delivery is created. If the delivery is created, you put the status as pass. Then number 2, you print delivery form. So if delivery form is created successfully, is printed successfully rather, then that is passed. If not, it failed. Then also print shipping label. So if it's printed successfully, that's fine. If it's not, then it failed. So you go through those steps like that and you update your status. And also you can as well put some comment in the actual results. The same way you have on the left hand side, depending on which template you actually favor. And the same way, if you are using the tool, it's getting easier. Basically, there's a button that you click. So there are 2 ways. There's a run button. And when you click on the run button, your application, your screen is actually divides into 2. So you have your test cases at the left hand side. So then the application that you are testing comes on the right hand side. So you'll be following what the test cases say actually. So open the home page for the web page. You open it, you confirm that the home page is displayed. You click on the setting icon, for instance, you confirm that the setting page is displayed. You just go through what you've written, and that should be it anyway. So then that's what you need to do. Execute test cases, then log bug and defects. We're going to go through how to log a bug and also defects. And we also will look into defect lifecycle in maybe next time. So yeah. So then you report your test cases. What do you report your bugs also? What do you put in your bugs? Maybe I need to emphasize this right now. Let's say you have a bug created here. So about this particular test case, you would put the step in order to create it. But if you are using a tool, basically it becomes easier because your test cases is automatically mapped with your bug. So the step is already copied over automatically. So, but let's assume you're using the manual process right now. You need in your bug, you need to put the test cases, you need to put the step. But also in some cases also, even if you are using a tool and you actually found a bug which hasn't got any test cases, you would need to write the step to create that particular bug in the bug story. And also, if there's any screenshot, you will attach screenshot. If there's any log, you will attach log. And also, I've seen some instances where they will ask you to put priority and severity, if it's high, medium, or low in some instances, or if it's critical or medium or cosmetic. So depending on what your company actually use, and some instances you don't even need to add the severity or the priority of the application. But 2 things are important when you are actually writing the bug. I would say one is the title, the second is the description of that particular bug. In the description, what you need to put is the step to recreate that particular bug, any information in terms of data that you use, and also in terms of data output, data input, in essence your test cases basically. Then also data also includes the log that you need to attach, if there's any log or any screenshot to actually buttress what you've done. So that is in terms of bugs and everything. So, and yeah, bear in mind the developer could come and say it's not a bug, it's a bug. So that's why you need to be able to recreate that particular bug. When you get a bug or when you discover a bug at the first instance, it's not the right time to just run it, raise a bug. You must make sure
that you are able to recreate that particular bug. And if you are not able to recreate it, then it's fine. You can still erase it, but you need to now put it that you are not able to recreate it again, because it's also possible that maybe it happens once in a while, and then since you already erased it, so then you can keep an eye on it, basically, so that when it happens again, you put more information on there. So, but before you raise any bug, try to, as much as possible, to recreate the bug. Actually, like, kind of go through the step again, and to see if you can actually see the bug again. So yeah, so in terms of deliverables, also you would have your test execution report, the defect report, which is your report on your bug, and update your requirements traceability matrix. So, and in manually also, you would have a test report like this, depending on this is not, you don't need to put all these columns actually, so you can choose which one you want to put, but you would put, you will actually report on the status of the report. Basically, I'll say what is important in this particular report will be the scenario that you're talking about, then the status of that particular requirement, of that particular bug or test. And like I said before, it depends on your company whether you put severity or you put priorities, but some people don't use it anyway, which is fine. And the status of that particular bug that you've raised, whether it's open or it's closed, if there's any. So that's what you put in your test report. And it becomes better in Azure DevOps. This is done by you automatically, and you go into the report, you'll be able to see how many tests you run, how many pass, how many fails as you are going through, and it's going to actually give you the percentage, and also list the failed and also the passed one for you, and you can rerun them if it's required. So okay, and this is for Jira basically. So yeah, on conclusion phase, what you would do is basically kind of tidying up your test basically, and provide figures, results, and and also report to all the stakeholders on what you have done. So like I said, in some cases the closure phase and the conclusion phase can be merged together into one. So, and basically it is a point when you send your report, you tidy everything up, your environment, make sure they're in the right state and everyone is okay, and also most importantly, you've been able to establish your exit criteria is met basically, and you've reported on that actually. So and that is a conclusion phase also, and everyone that needs to be reported to have been contacted. You have your test summary report and everything is there. So and so the same way also you put your lesson learned in a place, and also update your test metrics to be able to see, okay, you've covered everything and that needs to be covered according to your test metrics. So let's go discuss about the exit and entry criteria. So I don't need to. So my plan, I think that will be it for in terms of theoretical. In essence, basically, so if you want to test an application manually, you just read the requirements, then check the application, right, and design your test cases based on the requirements. Then after that, review it with whoever or the stakeholder, then execute your test and report back. that's what you would do as a manual tester, basically. So it's as simple as that, basically, day to day. So read requirements, design your test cases, then also review it with whoever you want to review with, then execute those test cases, report your bug, then make sure that you do your write reports, and that would be it for a manual. So we want to test this application, right, this website, and we just want to test the account creation. So we want to test the account creation and the name, last name, and also email address, phone number, and passwords, and you put that. So what you need to do is you write your test cases. So let's say this is now. I'm going to write a simple test plan, basically, or test script. So let's say we have a test condition. Our test condition is that is so let's say that's our test condition. Let's just write a simple one, so which is basically S and N, our step, and then we have the actions, then we have expected behavior, and then you have the actual. Then you have your status, and then maybe comments or something like that. So this will be like a kind of template that you're going to be looking at. So I will put that in bold. Okay. So number one, what do I need to do? So the first thing to go through is, let's say, bear with me, I need to be switching between screens. Okay, so now we have the two beside each other. So step one, what do we need to do? You can say navigate to giftreach.com. So what do you expect to see when you navigate to? So you will say that's what you expect to see. Then number two, after you navigate, what would you see? So okay, normally let me do this actually. Registration. Let's say this is a good example. So this is Azure DevOps, basically. Yeah. So this is a good test case. This is basically the requirement. This requirement for registration. So, and it's saying that for valid registration, if you are a user of GiftRate, you go to that particular site and you click on registration and you fill the form, then you should be able to register. Those are the what is in requirements, right? So practically that's the step that you need to follow. You just need to confirm that this step on the application works, because the person or the BA that have written this requirement will have written it even before the developer develops the website. So now, after the developer has developed the website, you will now, as a tester, confirm that what the developer has developed align with what the BA has written. So what you need to do, okay, navigate to that is displayed. Then the next point is you will now say, they say click registration. So you put in your test case, click on register. Okay, so then you should expect maybe register, and the registration form is displayed. Then number 3, what is the step? So fill the form, fill the registration form. Then what do you expect? Then number 4, what you need to do? Then it said, then I am registered. Then I would say, it said register forms. Okay, so this is the 3 steps that we need to use to confirm this is done, this is implemented correctly. So what we now, this is our design stage basically. So we've already passed the planning and also requirement stage. Requirements already been gathered, you confirm that it's fine. But okay, let's do a flashback basically. So let's do a flashback. So in the process, let's say we are at the requirement stage right now. What do? We review this particular requirement. All right, we say okay, because we don't even the application is not yet developed, so you just have to visualize what the application should do basically. So that's how interesting it is. You visualize what the application should do, and because that's what the BA has done basically, saying the application should do this and should do that. So now, so if you go to given I am a user of Giftrit, you can see that is not necessary, because this person will not be a user basically, because he just wanted to register. So you could query that and say, no, that doesn't look right. So that one, I can strike that out. Where's that strike? Okay. Yeah. So I can strike that one out. So then so this becomes given then. We talk about in the next, not this one, when we talk about the automation, we would be talking about the Gherkin, how Gherkin is written. So it's not within the scope of the manual testing right now. And with that would be looking to when we start automation testing, what is all this given and then and when. So we look into that during the automation testing. So this one now, given I go or I navigate, whatever you choose, and you click on register. So that's fine. I'm expecting that when I go to this site, I will see a register button. I can click on it, and it says as a free form. Some of them also, yeah, you could query this and say, which type of form? What are the details of this form? So, and in some cases, that particular question or that question can actually encourage the BA to elaborate this particular step and to say maybe when I enter first name, last name, email address, so that this actually it's kind of enlarged so you can now say, and I enter the first name, bear in mind that at this point the application is not yet developed, so you don't know how the application will look like. So we are only trying to write it with a view of what the user should see. So, and you enter password. So okay, so this is basically at the point of requirement gathering, basically, or when you are reviewing the requirements. That's the stage right now. So you can see this particular step can now go, because we've now replaced it. This is what the BA will do. It's not going to be you. You have to point it out to the BA, and it's going to update the requirement. And now, I mentioned about this also in the last lesson. So let's assume that you did not actually do review, and this application is developed based on what was there before. So it's going to be like they will try to say maybe the user is already registered. Let's assume that they didn't even say so. So then they click, they create a register button at this particular page, and then they say fill the form, and the form has not got any last name, has not got password. So then you pass to tester. So you now, because the requirement does not actually say the fields, so you just, okay, that's fine, and you passed it based on what the requirement, because the requirement only said that you should fill the form, and you filled the form and it passed, and then use it, and it goes live, and you discover that, oh, there's no password. Then it goes back again into requirement has to be changed, development has to be changed. Then also, so you can see that's why review testing needs to start as early as possible. You need to also test the requirement to be sure that requirement actually is fit for the purpose. Then it said, and as you can see also here, there's also a gap here. It said when you fill the form, after you fill the form, what happens? You will need to click something or submit the form or something like that. So that also needs to be there, and I click on register, and I submit anything, and I submit the form. Then I am registered. So basically that's it. So that will mean that our test cases will change. So this particular line would be replaced with the full detail. Then that would mean that enter the first name, enter last name, then enter password, confirm password, so, and you would say, what's that? Enter first name, So, and another thing also that some people actually write is, instead of, you can see this is kind of repetition basically. So I click on registration. Registration is fun. I click on this. So some people just get as expected. Okay, not yet. Okay, we can just duplicate anyway. So first name, yeah, first name is entered. Okay, you will do the same thing for that one, and then say enter submit form. So at this point, you would say the form is submitted. So then confirm. So yeah, you say the user is registered. So now another thing also that's very, very important is like when you are writing your test cases, you must write it with other people in mind, that even it's possible that you might not be the one that would execute the test cases basically. So that means that another person should be able to take these test cases and then go through it, basically navigate to this, click this. So it's not like, oh, I only know what I wrote, nobody can actually understand what you wrote. So that's not how to write test cases. Your test cases should be self-explanatory, that any other person can check that test cases and execute it. So this is your planning stage already done, and also your design, you've already written your test cases. Now let's go to, okay, before we go into the execution, let's go, this is using manually, or using the, basically, I am using Mac laptop, so if you're using Windows, you just go to Excel. You'll be able to do this in Excel. And I need to also say that if you don't know how to use Excel, there's a training that we also do in Excel, that for Excel, if you also want to join that, and I will send the details on when that is going to start. So you can also, Excel is very, very good too for testers. So if you want to join that particular training, please do signify your interest. So now let's go through how it's going to be done using Azure DevOps actually. So what you would do here, let me extend this now. So what you would do now, this is the test case, this is the audio requirement rather. So, and you would want to create another your test case. So you will just go into this particular link. So from here you would now add new link. So new item. So what you are going to create is a test case, and is related to this. So you will create your test case and say registration. And when you click on OK, that takes you to the window where you can now enter your actions and expected results. So for instance, like the one that we did for the Excel, navigate to, what's it called, giftcreate.com. So you will fill out that one also, then click on register. Sometimes you might need to be explicit because it might be what I've registered is a register link or register button. So then enter the last name, let's say first name first. So also you fill the expected results, the page. So on and on like that. That's what you would do based on what we've done just now. Okay, so based on what we've done just now, you can fill that out. So and that is that. So then after this, so you can, of course, you can save, click on that, and you click on save. That saves your test. And then we're going to go through how to create test cases on test plan later. So for now, we're going to just go through this right now. So the next step right now is the execution. What you need to do now is to say, okay, I've got my application now, it's ready. What does it say? Navigate to giftfree.com. Yes, it is there, and that is passed. So you could say website displayed, status pass. So then the second step is said click on register. There's no register here, so what you have is create link. So that no register button or link. So that is a fail. So your test has failed. So because it's failed, to be honest, you don't need to go ahead again. But in some cases, because you know it might be a genuine error, so you can continue, because that might not stop your testing. You need to know when a test will stop your testing. So, but you know that this can be a case of, okay, you just need to change the label. So then you can put the comment here and say the label is create account. But not register. So that's what you fill out that, and same thing also here. Also, you would save this one. Okay, this is already saved. So we come back to this. We need to write it, create a test plan for this one. So okay. So now what do you do using this? You would put this in red or something like that just to mark it, and that's it. And then you continue. So the next step is to fill the form, right? You would put your details there anyway, and then you fill the form basically. So that is so then you click on submit basically, and it says submit the form, and that is there. So now this is your first test. This is your first test. You would also, you may have, let's say we have, this is test condition 1. So we can say with valid test case. So another thing also that some people would do, if I is to, I think we've seen it in one of the screenshots. If I add another insert, add columns before, okay. So, and I say input. So at this point, I can put the input I am expecting to enter. I can say maybe my name, surname. So on and on like that. You can put your password and also confirm it also. And yeah, you just enter everything like that. So then, so this should be the same with this one anyway. So after that, you run the script. Then you can create another test case this time around for the next condition. So this is now condition 2. So, but with this now, with invalid inputs. So it's going to be the same thing, but what do we want? We want invalid inputs. Like for instance, my password and my confirmed password is different. So let's say I put my password here, and I put maybe that one there. So when I submit the form, then the form should not be submitted. So you can also say error message is displayed. In some cases, the BA also could itemize what the error should be. So then if that is itemized, you can actually put the error as a maybe this is not input, maybe just a test data, because in some cases you might put your output conditions also in there. So what are the test data when you submit, or the error message, or you can confirm the error message, is displayed instead of and confirm the so that's it. So yeah, that is that on the manual part, actually, without using any tool. So next week we're going to use Azure DevOps. We've already started, but we're going to go through the plan, how to create your box, what you put in a box and everything. So we're going. So, and any question before I just go through the last thing I want to do tonight? Okay, maybe I'll take question. Okay, I'll go through the question later. So let me quickly just do this. Okay, so quickly, like I showed this last time. I know there are new guys that joined. So And just to go through this, the mode of this particular trading that we're doing. So it's going to be weekly, starting from this week that we started. So the next one is going to be next Monday. So then there will be certification that we encourage everyone to do, ISTQB, and after that, there will be kind of an internship and a workshop. There will be a workshop coming on the 25th of January. 25th is going to be the workshop and also the matriculation. That's what the new guys that are joining us right now. I encourage everyone to come. So then also the last set that graduated, we're going to give them the certificate for the course they've done. So it's going to be the new your set basically. So you need to come and also network with other people, and there will be the workshop is happening in the morning, then the graduation dinner is happening in the evening. So I will also send the details even to the link that we have. So and also answer any question that we have suddenly. So schedule once again of this particular training that we're doing. The manual testing we already started, so that will finish next week. So next week we'll finish the manual testing. So that'll be all done next week. Then from there we'll start the automation until 24th of February at the same time. Then after that we do the mobile testing. So then after that, this is the project-based mentorship. It's popular, to be honest. It's one of the areas that this particular course has been, is our strong area basically. This point that everything that you've gone through in the course of the training, you have chance to be able to put them in practice, and you'll be given a project. You'll be able to they'll put you in maybe 3 or 4 QAs with BAs and also with Scrum Masters. So now that we have a Scrum Master project already, a training that is in flight, so then we'll be able to do it better. Last year we didn't have that, so but I think we'll be good for that. So if you are interested in the mentorship, right, the criteria for us is for you to be present for the workshop, because what we found out before was that some people enter the mentorship without having a fully environment set up basically. So the workshop allows you to come and set up your environment. You see people helping you to set up your environment and also to go through some issues that you have, so that when the mentorship starts you don't struggle. Because what we found out, some people will struggle at the end, they will not be able to benefit from that particular program. So information on the program and also on the teaching and with documents will be stored in this particular location. So if you don't have access, please go into that giftbridge.com/community/views. So if you are over 25, you go to 551. If you are under 25, you go to, basically, because we know some people have got even under 25 sometimes. Yeah, we just decide to separate them as of now, so that we can focus onto the different areas. And also different people over 25, you might need to, in terms of experience, it's a different ball game, to be honest, and you got different information that we need to pass across to different people. So yeah, content of automation system, automation testing when we do finish this manual testing. So yeah, so basically that is it. So any question before we finish? So okay, quickly, there's some question here. The BA course, I don't take the BA course. So, and I think a question is come, does the BA also include lesson on reviewing requirement documents?
No, I don't think it will be. I don't take the course, but I can actually talk to the tutor to see if she's going to include it. So, but I think if you are already here, that would be covered in this particular course. So I'm able to click on any. Not able to click. I don't understand what about to click. I'm not able. Yes. Okay. All right. I get that. So yeah, that also needs to be in the requirement basically. So yeah, that is not finished. So you need to put that in the requirement. So when is the Scrum Master course? That information will be sent to you through the link. So that I showed earlier, the gift link. So please, when do we get the video? That also will be sent into the link also. Does the case I'll start that person. Okay, the test cases, the answer is yes or no, right? You know, I showed you IEE 829 basically, so which is kind of a standard way to write it. So yeah, you could, yeah, there's a standard for that, but your what's it called? Your organization can change it, can say, okay, we want this, we don't want that one. So bear in mind that that also could happen, that they would prefer one above the other. So okay, so what else is? Yeah, I think they've already answered. That's a free version for Azure DevOps. The SX training information will be sent about that. When can we register for the certification? You can register as soon as possible, as in from today or anytime you want, to be honest. So we encourage everyone before they finish the internship to have been certified. So I think the right time to do is now. So would you need to review requirements if function has speech to assist? Yeah, I think yeah. So one question, what is on the 25th of January? On the 25th of January, we'll send the information once again. 25th of January, there's a workshop, and also there is a graduation and matriculation of the new students. So this is very, very important. If you're in the UK, and you should attend, if you are going to go, if you are planning to be on the internship, is a requirement for you to be on the internship. If you don't attend, you won't be considered. So, okay, thanks. They've sent the. So this slide will be sent to you through the link that I've mentioned the web. So I'm going to. So that is the link. So we'll post the video and also this particular material onto the link. So please do go to that link. To any assignment for this particular, yes, that's what I want to go into right now. But just bear with me. So in terms of certification cost, I think it's already on the link that's been sent. So click on the link. So okay, I think that should be all in terms of the question. So now assignment, right? Assignment now is for you to finish what we started, basically. So you will need to now write requirements on your test script. You need to write your test script, finish this for the registration, for invalid, and also for the valid ones also for registration, and also the same thing also for login, registration, valid and invalid, and then also complete the status also with comments. So you are meant to use Excel for this basically, so you don't need to use the tool. So next week we'll look at the tool. So one, I will repeat that. I think there are 3 things I want you to do. The first one is registration, then the second one is the login. So, and the third one that I want you to do is the wish list. When you go in there and you create a wish list, write a requirement basically and for wish list, as in creating wish list basically. So which is filling up this particular form. You don't need to use any tool, use the Excel. So basically 3 things, 3 assignments. 1 for registration, for login, and also for creating wish list. So that's what you need to do for this particular test. So writing wish list, creating wish list, requirement, registration, and then login. That's everything that you need to do. If you've done it, you need to send it to admin at blueskycitadel.com, admin at blueskycitadel.com. So all right, I think that should be us if there's no any other question. So that's it. Anyway, thank you everyone. So we meet again next week.